everybody. My name is Dan Bakley, and welcome to the main line.
What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to the main line. So on this episode, we're going to talk mostly about Wrestle Kingdom and the fallout at New Year's Dash. We're also going to talk a little AEW. We're going to try to sneak in some TNA talk, some Impact Wrestling if we can as well. But first of all, I'd like to tell you all that the main line is brought to you by Manscaped. They have precision tools for your family jewels, Tyler. It's now available in the UK. I know everybody has nicked their Yoshi-Hashi once or twice. Yours may look like an Ishii. We're not here to judge. We're here to help you from nicking your balls. And Manscaped does this with their engineered ball trimmer. It reduces accidents with their ceramic blade, with their LED light. I barely have to charge this thing. It's so awesome. And if you're listening to me now, you could go to manscaped.com, get 20% off with the code ML2020 and free shipping. Go take care of your junk. How are you guys? How was your weekend? What a crazy day, huh?
Well, before we break into that, let's watch that promo video from Manscaped so you guys know exactly what Gary is talking about.
So yeah, guys, crazy day in this world. Screw all those people that stormed the Capitol, but we're gonna come here and try to distract you from the craziness with a little Wrestle Kingdom talk. Tyler, we got you into New Japan.
Oh, I love it. It's awesome.
What have you watched? What's your first impressions of New Japan Pro Wrestling?
My first impressions is, what have I been missing lately? I mean, no disrespect to the promotions over here, but if you're not watching New Japan Pro Wrestling and being a wrestling fan, that you're missing out. Tremendous action. They do so many creative moves. The whole presentation and feel and approach is so different, and that's a great thing. I came away I'm a big fan now of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I see in the comments Joe saying hi. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Joe.
So let's get right into this. We had the biggest show of the New Japan calendar over the weekend. It's Wrestle Kingdom. It's like their equivalent of WrestleMania, Tyler.
Yeah.
Did you get to see any of the highlights or any of the matches from Wrestle Kingdom?
You know what? I actually did get to see both shows and the New Year's Dash as well. They were just awesome. I can't wait to talk about more of the matches and go more into that detail. I was just blown away because they go the limit. They go a long time, and that's what it was.
Let's do that. Let's dig in because we got a lot here. We got 3 nights. They started night 1 with the king of pro wrestling, Rambo. This was kind of a rumble match where you could pin, you could submit, you could toss over the top rope. Dan, what'd you think about the New Japan Rambo?
I thought it was pretty cool because you got to see some of the people that you haven't seen in a while, like Tiger Mask. You got to see Tenzin come back into the ring because lately you've been used to seeing him accompany Mascherano as a manager. So it was pretty nice to see some of them coming in there, and it was a good way for them to showcase some of the lesser known people plus the young lions.
Are you guys aware who Tiger Mask is? Like, what kind of deal he is? Like, he's not the first Tiger Mask, the one you saw at Wrestle Kingdom.
Okay. No, I don't.
Tiger Mask is like a revolving cartoon character, literally a cartoon character. There is a cartoon called Tiger Mask. There was a recent one called Tiger Mask W, where the current New Japan guys are in it. And this has been going on for years, and different wrestlers play Tiger Mask. Like Kota Ibushi played Tiger Mask W, for example.
I know he
Did
did
not know
when he
that.
first came in.
So yeah, and Tiger Mask is kind of one of the New Japan dads right now. He's one of the veterans. So like they have their veterans in New Japan, Tyler, work with their younger guys, the young lions.
Well, that's smart. That's how you gain experience. I
And
mean,
do you know what
yeah.
you know what the young lions are, Tyler? Or has someone smartened you up to the young lion system?
They aren't they training? And I mean, they're just getting put in matches with, like you said, the Tiger Mask, the Suzukis, as we saw on New Year Dash with Gabe Kidd, and we'll get into that. But that's some examples. That's all I kind of really been able to gather the information on them. But they're impressive. They're
there to
stars in
job
the
out
making.
and to take care of the dirty work, the washing of the clothes, the doing the ring work. They're there to pay their dues.
And right now in Japan, you're already seeing the two Japanese ones and then Gabriel Kidd. But over on New Japan Strong, they have a couple that are in the States that are just there. Like they had Clark Connors, who's he's only been able to do Strong. And then they had Carl Fredericks, who was a young lion who just graduated this past year. And now he can actually become his own character now, because they stripped all the young lions to basically black trunks, so they had no gear, no gimmick, no nothing. And then
basic move set.
Yeah, they train them from scratch, and then they have guys actually like wrestlers that are in the company train them, and then they usually do like 1 or 2 years of that, and then when they finally graduate, right before they do that, they go on excursion to another company for a year to gain experience before they come back to New Japan with a gimmick.
I got you. See, no, I love that, because that's missing a lot. I don't want to knock any other wrestling promotions. I don't know. I'm just a fan. But from what you guys were telling me, that's the way you gain experience. You get them in there with a Suzuki and Nagata. I mean, come on. I do remember him because he stood out. Wasn't he in WCW or WWE at one point? Then they brought him over. Yeah. I was thinking it. Now I may be wrong because I'm relying on you.
I want to say he was in WCW.
I think that's where I saw him. Maybe he was on a Nitro or pay-per-view they had.
And then even Suzuki has done Bloodsport lately.
Okay.
So
Josh Barnett. Yeah,
he's done that. And then, of course, last year, if you know WWE and AEW, he wrestled right after Wrestle Kingdom. He wrestled John Moxley.
Okay. See, that's where I hadn't been really keeping up with it as well. And I hate that, because I wish now I would have. After seeing Wrestle Kingdom and the other shows, I think it was Super J Cup, the World Tag Team. Daniel had me go back. He's like, you've got to go back and check this out. And I'm so glad I did. This is exciting. It makes me want to be a fan. It's like I can actually get into a show that I get wore out on, and it's not for a bad reason. It's for a very good one. I want more.
Before we digress too much, back to that New Japan KOPW Rambo. Yano, Fale, and Chase Owens, and Bushi won that match. So the funny thing is Yano didn't have to even get into the ring.
Yeah, it was classic Yano, where he can advance without having anything to do with the match. All you see is him start walking out, and then they're like, ding, 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 match ended. And then you see the dynamic between him and Chase Owens and Battle of Fale, where he's like, stay back. But then, of course, Japanese. And then they're telling him, come in. And he's like, no. And then you see him walk away. And then when they show him that he has advanced, he acts like, yeah, I did it. Like he actually did something, which is great because I love the character. Like at first, I didn't think I was going to like it when I first started watching it. But as I get going, I'm like, just how he is easily the R-Truth of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
If not better. Like
yes.
He's a comedy master. It's him and Colt Cabana. And I know you didn't get to see them form a tag team, Yano and Colt Cabana, but you should look that up, Tyler.
I need to. Hey, whatever you guys, even if it's YouTube clips of just single matches. But he is awesome. I love that because he's like, the Bullet Club members thought they had him. They are talented. They normally are a step ahead. But then comes this Yano character, and he's like, "I one-upped you. I didn't even have to come in the ring."
They call him
Yeah,
the
he
Sublime
does.
Master Thief.
He hired out Shawn Michaels. Yano steals the show.
He's always selling something. I mean, we're peddling Manscaped. He's peddling DVDs. So we relate to Yano here.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the rainbow, you see Chase Owens go, "He wasn't even in the match. He shouldn't advance." And then you hear Kevin Kelly go, "Well, you politic to go number one." And then this is what happened. And then they made a great point that it was like Yano must have politicked to get to the back because he had won the 2021. And then you see Bushi had the great idea of staying to the outside most of the time.
Is KOPW going to become the 24/7 title except with Yano instead of R-Truth?
Easily, because it gives him a feature with where he can actually do this comedic version of himself without taking away from any of the other titles or matches. It's perfectly for him, and it's kind of funny that his stable leader is the one that came up with the idea.
Yeah, and it really seemed like Okada meant for it to be a serious thing where they're showcasing different things in a New Japan ring, but it's just been the Yano show.
He's great.
Yeah.
All right, we're stuck on the first match here, guys. Let's move on here. Hiromu versus ELP. El Phantasmo. I don't like ELP, but this was a fun match. These boys dropped each other on their necks. It was dangerous. What'd you guys think?
I'll let you start, Tyler.
I thought it was amazing. I mean, El Phantasmo, to me, he's disrespectful. He doesn't care about the people, but that's a great heel. It's believable. It makes me suspend my disbelief. That's the problem I have with a lot of heels over here sometimes. And I know I'm just a fan, but it's true. I want to be entertained, but I want it to be taken serious at times. We got the ha-ha moments with Yano, but we get the seriousness with El Phantasmo. And all I'm going to add, what about that spot where it was Hiromu trying the sunset powerbomb, and wasn't it countered by El Phantasmo and then the backflip, but it looked like he injured his leg. That was a just incredible spot. Even working hurt is what I admire about these guys.
And I think the thing that gets lost in the shuffle with Hiromu is how he sells. Mm-hmm. The way he sounds, the way he shows on his face, his facial expressions when he's hurt.
His expressions are the best.
Yeah, he makes those noises, those grunts and moans that makes you believe that he's really hurt. And then, I think he's one of my unsung heroes of wrestling right now, just with how he acts and everything. He makes it so believable.
Oh, he's clearly a show favorite. We named him Wrestler of 2020. So last show.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, and you've got to have great selling, and they work a stiffer style. Not that they don't do that over here, but they're definitely going for it. I mean, some of those shots, there was some blood, bloody noses, and we talked about Phantasmo getting injured. I mean, these spots are not just, I don't know what people think, they want to laugh at wrestling. I got news for you. These people are sacrificing, and they're the way they train. It's tough stuff.
Now, how do you feel about this whole thing that they're starting with El Phantasmo with something in his boot? Because obviously, as you see, he steps on his hand of Hiromu, and all of a sudden he's just hurting like 1,000 bricks just fell on his hand. And of course, you see on New Year's Dash, he goes and does not to go too far ahead, he goes and does the super kick, and then was it Karamari? And then he just falls down and is out. And then he pats his boot. So I'm interested to see what happens with that in the future.
I love it. It's an old school wrestling angle. Exactly. A loaded boot or a loaded cast or a loaded something.
And then it kind of played into God with what happened with them, but I'll wait until.
Well, let's just talk about it since you're segueing. That's a good segue there, Daniel. For the tag championship, the Gorillas of Destiny defeated the Dangerous Techers in a heel versus heel match. This was, I don't know, it was okay. It was one of the weaker matches, I think, of the Wrestle Kingdom, but it's a high bar that was set during these two shows.
It was.
So it wasn't a bad match at all.
I felt like they hyped it up so much that I kind of knew that God was going to win. And then with how they've been doing lately, how they kind of snuck away with the win against Finjuice at the World Tag League Finals, that something like that was going to happen. I just didn't think it was going to be a phantom glove that would help him win.
The Iron Fingers, which he inherited from a retiring Suzuki Gun member.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, Sabre Jr. to me is a guy that stands out, to be honest. I mean, his British style that he brings with the submissions, but he can go fast pace. That's all, I wanted to add. I mean, it was, to me, I didn't know the expectations, so like you all did, so I was excited about it. Probably too much so.
Zack Sabre Jr., you make a good point. He's super unique.
And
yeah.
He's
I'd imagine
style.
someone watching the product for the first time point that out for sure.
Yeah. And luckily for me, like I had before I started watching New Japan, I was able to see him in the Cruiserweight Classic. So I had a little bit of experience seeing him. So it was pretty cool to see how he has progressed from there. And then I just watched a documentary on Will Ospreay, and he was in it. So I was able to get a little bit more insight on him there as well. So it's pretty nice to see where he started then to where he is now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they got to start somewhere. That's the beginning.
The next match of the opening night was Kenta defeating Kojima. And I think the big story from this is we had the Jon Moxley video package before the match, which I thought was lame. Like, he's not there. He's just a video package. That's weak. Like, that was probably the weakest thing of Wrestle Kingdom. What do you guys think of the Mox video package?
I did, but then at the same time, I knew why they were doing it, because maybe he's not allowed to leave the country with AEW, and then maybe they're saving him. Like I said this to Tyler, maybe they are saving him for the Madison Square Garden show that is scheduled in August, because it's actually here in the U.S., and it allows them to drop it then. And it gives them a good match to have there, because they were supposed to have it in August, but because of the pandemic, they pushed it back a year. So this gives them plenty of time to do it. I don't think that they do it on Strong, because I think that would be too much of a waste of a storyline to do that on a Friday night show, when they could possibly do it at the biggest venue in all wrestling, which is Madison Square Garden.
That makes sense. I just wonder if like it's going to be ready, and then man, that's going to be a cluster moving your wrestlers. You're going to have to like move half your roster, and we're going to probably get some real lean shows with like Tiger Mask and the Young Lions, and
it's going to be tough. Yeah.
And we got Justin chiming in here. Hey, Nerds of Wrestling here. How's it going, man? Thanks for tuning in.
I'd be surprised if that show happens here in August. Like, do you think we're on a time frame here in the U.S. for that?
I think there's a time frame, but I think knowing that that's 8 months away, they're hoping that they'll be able to do it. And I think right now they might have a backup in place for it. But I think that's like to me, that's their number one option right now is Madison Square Garden in August.
I thought this Kenta versus Kojima match was fun. Kojima was just desperately trying to hit his lariat. He knew he had one shot, and he was trying to get that one shot in on Kenta, and it didn't happen. It was a fun match. I'm a huge Kojima.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of his gimmicks. Like Kojima has a lot of like little things he does. He's kind of a layover from like a 90s type wrestler that has like, his 5 moves of doom. And he screams out to the crowd like, "I'm coming for you, you bastard, you son of a bitch." And he tweets hilarious things about bread on Twitter. I love Kojima. I'm Bread Club for life.
And then, of course,
he's awesome.
Yeah, and of course he's a tag partner of Tenzan. So that makes
tag partner of Tenzan, yeah.
Great tag team. Yeah.
This was a good match. I liked it. I was just disappointed there was no Moxley.
Yeah, I think everybody was thinking with that tease y'all were talking about the video that maybe we'd see Moxley, but that wasn't the case. And I'll tell you, those chops, Kojima, you said it, those move sets, though, I'm amazed. I mean, he's going for it where he just
throws it. It's like a claw. It's like he's clawing you to death.
I would not want to be in a turnbuckle or that corner. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Better Kenta than me.
Tanahashi defeated the Great Okan. I was saying during predictions that Tanahashi finds a way to come out with like a glorious six-pack every Wrestle Kingdom. It doesn't matter how fat he is at the beginning of the year. In Wrestle Kingdom, he just comes out of his cocoon like a butterfly. And that's what he did here. He looked great against Okan. It was a fun match. I thought he made Okan look like a monster while picking up the win. What do you guys
I
think of
love
this
Okan,
match?
yeah. Go for it, Daniel.
No, I like this match. Like, of course, I thought Great O'Connor was going to win because I thought they were going to highlight the Empire in this, which wound up being the opposite. But then at New Year's Dash, they wound up getting highlighted anyway then. But I thought it was a great match because at any point you thought either one of them were going to win or lose. But they mostly had Great O'Connor control most of the match. And then he had locked in the claw a few times, but then know that it was, like you said, it was Hiroshi and how anything goes when it's Wrestle Kingdom. He just felt the crowd, and all of a sudden you see him come in there, get out, and then he hit Tristan Shout a couple of times, and then you see him get on the top and just finish it, and it was just like, wow, like. He always, you pointed out great last week. He always looks weak half the year, and then once he gets there, he looks like a superhuman wrestler.
He's the best baby face of our lifetime, I think.
I can see why he's a star. And going back to Okan, just real quickly, that Tombstone Power Driver variation is devastating. I mean, I love that. He's unorthodox too, and that's what I love watching New Japan. And I see why you guys do too, is you get a lot of differences as far as styles. That's technical, that's high risk, all that. And they give you a variety, like a buffet of just awesome wrestling. And that's what I love about it. I'm enjoying watching their brand.
So speaking of the Empire, they took 2 L's on this night. Okada defeated Will Ospreay in a banger of a match, in my opinion. I liked this match a lot.
Yeah, it has to be up there as one of the best.
And did you notice how Will Ospreay changed up his style for this match? If you watch a classic Will Ospreay match, it's fast-paced, a lot of flips, and a lot of him kicking. But in this one, the pace was slowed down. There's a little bit of different moveset from him in this. And like it was more not just to highlight Okada, but to highlight his change into more of a heel character that is moving up to heavyweight, because you're going to need to do less of that and more, not storytelling, but showcasing. And I think he's getting his body ready for the bigger guys.
I thought the storytelling in this match was really good too, because Okada has been doing the money clip all year. He's kind of been handicapping himself because he's so good. He's so above everyone else. I'm not going to use the Rainmaker. I'm going to beat everybody with this money clip finisher. And he had to use the Rainmaker here. He couldn't beat Ospreay with the money clip. So it was kind of a way to make Ospreay still look strong.
It was a nice build-up. I mean, hey, and just one thing I'm going to add is that, how about that Spanish fly from the top rope of Ospreay? Was that not, I was like, wow, that's unreal. I mean, the way he pulled that off.
He does that quite a bit, but to see him do it to a guy like Okada, who is very tall.
Okada pulled the flip off perfectly, too. It's like, is there anything that man can't do? He's like an athletic guy.
Yeah, settling's just as important as the person pulling off the move. You're absolutely right.
In the last match of the night, we had the double gold main event, Naito versus Ibushi, and Ibushi came away with the victory. This was a crazy match. I didn't know how they would top it on night 2. It was extremely good. I mean, I thought the storytelling was good from beginning to end when Naito handed the titles to Ibushi. Thoughts, guys? Daniel?
I thought this was a really good match. The only thing that I critique is it was a little too long, because I believe it was 40 minutes long. When I looked, it was the longest match of both nights. I think it just beat out Okada and Will Ospreay by like 5 minutes. But just their styles mesh so well. And like I won't lie, I thought Naito was going to win this, and then Jay White was going to go and win night 2. But I can see why they booked it the way that they did, because you can kind of find something new to do with Naito, and then you finally get the belt to Ibushi, and then to continue a storyline with him and Jay White. But I thought just all in all, it was a great match, and the way that he would break out the Destino, and then Naito would break out of the Kamite. It was just great.
Yeah, the Kamigoye.
Fantastic match. Yeah.
I don't know if I like the spamming finishers finish. I don't know about you guys, but it seems to be a popular finish these days. And I don't know, I really think it kind of originates from like Rock Austin, Stunner, Rock Bottom, Stunner, Rock Bottom.
Probably so. Yeah, that would seem logical. Yeah.
Kickouts seem to be really in vogue too, especially in New Japan. Like it always takes 2 finishers.
It does, yeah.
I do like, though, instead of the kick out, it's them getting the shoulder up, but barely. They're like, you see red shoes go look, and you see the wrestler go like this, and then he goes, and he points at it, and he's like, without saying anything, that means shoulder up or leg up.
I like the rope break in that scenario better, because the guy could be down and out, and you could get your hand over the rope, opposed to like getting the shoulder up. That takes a little more energy. The rope break is you didn't have ring awareness, so that's what cost you the match.
Yeah.
I think they need to do a little bit more of that.
I can see why Ibushi is double champion, though. I mean, not only does he have the look, but he can back up with the talent, too. And I think they were building up. I'm like you, though. I thought Naito was going to regain both the titles, but it was time. I mean, they were definitely going to be pushing Ibushi. I mean,
and then I liked how Jay White came out, and then he was like, congratulations, but he was like, but this isn't yours. He basically said, this isn't your story. This is mine. You say you're going to become God, but that's going to be me. And it was like, I was able to beat you to get this. And that means that it's my time, not your time. And then I really like that. Just like I said, the storytelling was just perfect.
How much do you know about Kota Ibushi, Tyler?
I really don't know a lot. I'm just kind of learned on the fly, to be honest. But what I do know of him, I mean, he's got that talent. I can see why they pushed him. He's got the babyface look. I mean, and it took these kind of opponents that had the experience to help carry him, because let's be honest, it takes 2 of the dance partners in there. And I just thought it was a tremendous match. No, that's what I was going to put on that conversation.
So to give you a little bit of background, like in New Japan, they really love pushing their own guys. So they like pushing guys who used to be young lions. And Kota Ibushi is not one of those guys. He was in a promotion called DDT with a guy named Kenny Omega, and they were part of a very famous tag team called the Golden Lovers. And it was, they kind of do more comedy stuff. Kenny Omega's reputation. Kota Ibushi kind of has a similar reputation for being almost like a backyard wrestler. He does stuff that looks awesome, but it's super dangerous. He probably learned it in the backyard. So he's been one of my favorites for a long time. And I just like to say, Dan, I told you so. I told you Ibushi was winning this match.
You did, but because of everything that unraveled after, I can see why they did it. I see why they had a certain reason to, but it doesn't hurt that it's Kota Ibushi and all that goes with them. That helped out even more.
Yeah, it was cool seeing Tana come out. I don't know if you guys saw that. Tanahashi came out. He's kind of Kota Ibushi's mentor.
Yeah,
I don't know if I caught that or not, but that is cool.
So he doesn't have any time to rest. He goes right on to night 2.
And before we go into night 2, if anybody wants to catch any of our other podcasts on here, we're on social media, on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter under WTB.com. But if you want to know a little bit more about that, here's our promo video for our social media.
house in the hills with the stars. Told you I'd raise the bar. Told you that I'd go far. Oh, baby, it's crystal clear. I'm not a souvenir. I'm not an accessory. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now.
And just what we said before, we are the buzz, what you want it, when you want it. You can, just like I said before, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Now that we're done with that, let's segue over into night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom, if you want to get started with that, Gary.
Sure, man. First, we started off with the Stardom matches, which we didn't get to see, which is a shame, because I like Stardom, Tyler. I don't know if you've ever got to watch it, but it's some of the finest women's wrestling.
Yeah, I've definitely heard the promotion, but have not actually got to watch the product, is what I meant to say. That's a better way of answering that.
And the reason that they didn't show it is because the sister promotion for New Japan, Stardom, is on a different TV network than New Japan, so they can't. Which I think they can show these 2 matches on Stardom, but they can't show it with Wrestle Kingdom. So that's why they have them labeled as a dark match.
They got to fix that,
networks,
man. Like, because a rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah.
Like, the other, bigwigs at these television companies need to realize, hey, if Stardom is on their biggest show of the year, people are going to tune into my channel. So they got to fix this. They got to get into people's ears. I want to see next year that these not be dark matches. Specifically, because my girl, Julia, in the second match, won with a glorious driver. She had sweet new gear. I can't tell you much about these matches because, like I said, I haven't seen them yet. But, yeah, you should watch some Stardom matches. A lot of the women that are popular now in WWE came from Stardom, like Io Shirai, Kairi Sane.
Yeah, definitely know those names for sure. Hey, Bea Priestley, doesn't she wrestle for them?
She actually wrestled there.
Yeah, girlfriend, I should say.
It came to AEW, then asked for.
I remember that.
And then came back, and then what champion is she on there? Because I saw the belt, and I forget what championship she held.
Does she hold one anymore? She used to hold.
She walked out to the ring at Wrestle Kingdom with the belt.
I'll have to check out my notes. It must be a tag belt then.
She's a great
ballet, yeah. She held the belt that you can only face people from other countries. So if like someone from the United States has it, they can wrestle anybody from Japan. But if someone from Japan has it, they got to find a foreign wrestler to wrestle against. That was the title she had. I don't think she has that anymore. She may be a tag champion, if I'm not mistaken. So we did get to see the junior tag championship. Oh, no. First, we had the KOPW match. Never mind. The 2021 KOPW match. And like we were talking about, Yano comes away with the trophy again. Second year in a row. The Bullet Club had this match won. They had Bushi pinned. Couldn't decide he was going to take the pin. And Yano came in with his classic low blows and ran away with it. So I thought this was funny. It was.
Yeah.
That they came in, Bullet Club came in. They said they had their plan, and then a nice homage to the finger poke of doom in the beginning, where you see Chase Owens just lay down after getting poked, but then you see Yano run in there with the save at the very beginning, and then you see the tactics of the 2-on-1 most of the match. And then I liked at the end where you see Fale and Chase Owens talking there to give them time for Toru Yano to get up and get back into it. They're like, if I win, we win. And then Fale's like, well, if you win, you win. If I win, we win.
Yeah.
And it was a nice change of pace from them, because the arguing gave a chance for Yano to come back in with the double low blow. And which he pushed them out, and then he ran over and pinned Bushi. So in essence, he didn't have to do anything clean. He just kind of cheated to win.
Yeah, showing dissension. Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned an homage, and we know sold the best homage of Wrestle Kingdom. I hate to take us back, but how about ELP doing an homage to every Bullet Club leader by performing every Bullet Club leader's finisher during that Hiromu match? He did a stylus clash. He went for the one-winged angel. He
That's
did it
true.
all.
He
It was
did.
pretty.
Yeah, he did everybody's. That was cool.
I
Hey,
thought
why
that was
not?
fun.
Yeah. Why
So
not?
the junior tag match, El Desperado, Kanemaru defeat Wato and Taguchi. I don't think anybody's surprised by this because Wato wasn't winning the match. Big match Taguchi was all they had, and it wasn't enough. And especially with the way Desperado came off that Hiromu match at the Best of the Super Juniors, I didn't think they were taking these belts off these guys. What do you think of the match, Tyler?
I thought the match delivered. I mean, is that anybody surprise to anybody with watching New Japan Pro Wrestling? Desperado, he's a high flyer, but he can also do the submissions. I mean, he's so versatile, and I'm impressed by him. I'm impressed by what Master Wato can do, and what Kanemaru as well. I didn't know enough about the story, but they just looked too dominant, or at least if they weren't dominating, they just had the momentum in their favor.
There really isn't a lot of story here to tell. You had one tag team, Desperado and Kanemaru, facing two guys that are hodgepodge together. Wato was a former young lion who just came back with a new gimmick, and he's very blue. He's a Smurf.
He needs to be in a video game. His gimmick, that's not a knock, but I can see him being in like one of their New Japan Pro Wrestling videos.
I don't know. Feel free to knock Wato. I think he kind of sucks. He's becoming the new Yoshihashi.
Well, I'm kind of staying away because you guys maybe later. Maybe I can do the insults later. Oh, you've got the. I didn't catch that. Oh.
It's his favorite wrestler of New Japan, Yoshihashi. But
Yoshihachi's the favorite.
Yeah, see? Can you see?
Wow, what a look. What an expression.
He loves him so much, he wants to put a circle around him with the thing so you know that he's good to go.
Yeah.
I thought they were having Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan come out with that finger poking down. That's what that reference,
Yeah.
That.
But I don't have any problems. I actually like Master Wato minus the blue. I think if you gave him black hair, he would be a lot better. See, the outfit that it came out with was cool. Like it was still blue, but it was like kind of a dark blue. I thought it was better than his actual outfit he usually comes out with for the regular shows. But if he came like black hair, he would be a much better character.
He's not a baby face either. He's a heel.
They're blurring the lines a little bit, I think. Yeah, exactly. And I think Kanemaru, he's fundamentally sound, and I hope I pronounce his name right, pronunciated.
Pretty close, Kanemaru.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You just don't know much of him because he was supposed to be in the Super Juniors tournament, but he got hurt, so that's why you saw the young line replace him in there because he was a replacement for him.
People overlook Kanemaru. Kanemaru was an ace of, I believe it was Pro Wrestling Noah. He was a junior champ in Noah. And yeah, he is. He's super fundamentally sound, and people kind of overlook him because he's always in a tag team, but he's a lot better than people give him credit for.
And most of those kind of wrestlers are really your workhorses. I mean, me and Daniel talked about this, Gary, like with Malenko, even when WCW, as much as I was a Sting fan, all those guys, it was like the Guerreros and Malenkos and all those guys who were your workforces, who everybody was looking. And Jericho.
I definitely put him in that conversation of New Japan workhorse.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of workhorses, holy crap, this Never match with Shingo Takagi versus Jeff Cobb. This was like an old school, like late 80s, early 90s, like well-wrestled matches. Like, you know, when the guys were like huge, they were giants, they were like big dudes. They would just toss each other around. And like,
I mean, it was a fight. Yeah.
High impact. I really enjoyed this match. For a while, I thought it was going to be match of the night, but we'll talk a little bit about that later.
Yeah, I thought so too. And to be honest, I want to see more of this. I want to see a rematch because these guys were just beating the holy crap out of each other. I mean, they were laying it in, man. I mean, it was some old school stuff. Yeah.
And like we mentioned on the Working Fans podcast earlier, we mentioned that it was nice to see the big man battle because there's two big guys.
Exactly.
Just beating the shit out of each other. And I kind of liked, I hope this happens because Rocky Romero mentioned it, but they mentioned like after seeing these two guys, I hope to see them both fight again, or to see Brody King come in and fight with Shingo. And it was nice to see like that little tidbit, and hopefully we see Brody King a little bit more because he's been a mainstay lately on Strong, and I want to see him get into New Japan because I think that would be a nice never open weight contender right there with his style with these two guys.
And I love how Cobb manhandles people. I mean, he's a beast.
Like they're little babies.
Yeah, he shows no mercy. I mean, even Shingo, a big guy like him, and Shingo, to his credit, threw Cobb around. That's what was great. You said it. They were evenly matched. I'm getting more excited talking about this match because I was like, just let him go. I mean, his nose was broken, his leg was hurt, and he was mad. I mean, Cobb wanted to get back in there. I mean, that was awesome. The officials were trying to, and I'm like, he could have thrown those guys around, and they were probably former wrestlers or trainers, but it makes you believe. That's what I'm talking about. That's a point that I'm not seeing on Raw, with all due respect, or SmackDown. I'm seeing it on New Japan, and I'm liking what I'm seeing.
I like how Jeff Cobb sold his injury that he got in the match because he tried to do Tour of the Islands the second time, because the first time he got countered, but the second time he tried to do it, but he didn't have enough leverage on his foot, so he kind of fell down, and then he kind of did like a stand inside tour of the Islands where
I caught that. Yeah,
too much into it, and then he went to do it a third time, and then that's when Shingo took over because it took too long to get the two tries going.
Yeah, Shingo's a beast too. I mean, you've got two monsters like that are athletic. I mean, they're doing drop kicks as good as a lot of the wrestlers that are a lot smaller, and doing stuff off the top rope and going for
how
everything.
big Shingo is. Like, Shingo came in as a junior, and he's obviously way bigger than a junior.
He must be bigger than a junior. Yeah, I'm surprised.
But the way he wrestles like he's 7 feet tall for sure.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's funny to think that this was his first 4 year as a heavyweight, because last year he was in the Super Juniors tournament.
See, that's amazing to me. His first year? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
People were kind of calling like, hey, let's break out the scale here. Like, I believe in kayfabe. But
what's going on?
Yeah, because he obviously dwarfed a lot of the juniors, but he's not a super big guy. But like
he's like this baseball.
It was very believable against Cobb.
That are lying about their birth certificates. Oh, I'm really 12. No, I'm actually out of high school. I'm here. Yeah.
I'm interested to get your opinion, Daniel, on this next match. It was Sonata versus Evil. We've been waiting for this for years. They've been stablemates. They've been tag team champions together. This should have been their blow-off, you would assume, but it was kind of a cartoonish WWE style match thanks to Dick Togo. What'd you think, Daniel? Was this the blow-off you wanted?
Like there's a couple like tidbits that I didn't like about the match, even though I loved when Sonata walked out, they made the point to mention that like when the whole deception from Evil from leaving Lost in Hoblace Day Japan, that they mentioned that he was going to be the fourth best heavyweight, and that's why he fled. And when he turned on Naito, like you never got Sonata's like opinion of it, and then throughout the year they kind of stayed away from each other. You didn't see them in the same room at all until the last match of the tournament of the G1 before you got to the finals. And then you see them wrestle, and then you see Dick Togo get involved, but Hiromu was there to save the day for Sonata. So, and then up until they fought each other at the Super Junior final where Sonata snapped. You saw him actually give his emotion, and he snapped after he got the chain wrapped around him by Dick Togo. He just went crazy. And I think it was kind of like not the changing of the guard, but like the changing of seeing Sonata as just a mid-card guy, and you see him moving up. Like you saw him wrestle in his way. He wasn't going to change his style just to win the match. He was going to do it his way, and he's very technical. But the one thing I didn't like was Evil messed up on a back suplex where he threw him back, and Sonata kind of had to do like a cartwheel onto his head, and then he kind of played it off as if he was hurt.
Yeah.
Which obviously it was a mess up, and he clearly saw it, but kudos to the announcers for playing it off and to take away from that so you didn't like get too much focus into the botch. But like just like you said, I didn't get into the end where like I knew something was going to happen to Dick Togo to where they would get him out of the match.
Oh, he set up that table, and I was like, oh, he's going through the table. If you set up a table, you're going through the table.
It was like you were just waiting for the table's still there. Whether they're going to push him into it, and then it did happen. But I did like how not like Okada with the submission. You got Sonata where he wants to use the backflip,
the moonsault,
moonsault, but then he always goes to the cold skull.
How stupid is Evil keep getting caught in that cold skull, right? Like, you think I'm tag team partners with this guy. Stay away from his armpits. That's the one place you don't want to be. Keep away from his underarm area.
Are we talking Nasty Boys? What's going on here? I thought it was New Japan.
But the one thing I want to ask you, Tyler, is what do you think of the Paradise Lock?
I think it's great because it stabilizes and neutralizes the opponent until they just have to figure it out. Unless he drop kicks him, he kind of helps him sometimes. And I understand it because you got to have more segments of the match, but that's called pretzelizing. That's really stretching your opponent to a new level. I loved it. I'm like, what is this? That's what I mean. I'm learning so much.
Lock. It's so stupid.
So Gary hates it. Okay. Well, hey, we can have different opinions. That's what's going to make it great.
Whatever.
Yeah. But I love your expression when I said that. You're like, man, I can't believe he said that.
Come on. You're the old school wrestling guy.
Well, I know what's going on. See, I better not. Don't let Cornette know.
So there's only two people that can ever do the Paradise Lock. It's Sonata and Milano, the announcer, who kind of retired it and gave it to Sonata. So it's a secret lock. Only two people know how to get in and out of.
Top secret. Did not realize. See, I learned so much not only on backstory moves about New Japan from you two. It's amazing. I'm absorbing, being a sponge on the knowledge of our two czars right here. I'm sucking up, putting these guys over. They deserve it for even putting up with me trying to learn this stuff. So thank you.
Evil should not be a fumbling buffoon, right? Like, he was a double champ over the summer. Can we get like a stronger Evil? Like, first of all, they should have tossed Togo right away in this match. We should have got a sweet ass grudge match like Sonata and Evil deserve.
Yeah, it's Wrestle Kingdom. Come on, I haven't seen Evil enough, but from the clips Daniel was sending me, you're exactly right. Have him be aggressive, be more Jeff Cobb like. I know he's not. I'm not going to compare him with Jeff Cobb. That's unfair because Jeff Cobb's an animal, but in the best kind of way, a compliment. But
Evil can be like
Evil
that,
can
though.
do that. That's what I'm talking about. Let him do that. Let him just destroy people. I mean, eventually he sells for you, but it was too much guardrailing stuff. Yeah.
Super popular in Japan. He sells so much merch. Like, before he was this heel character, he would come out in kind of like a Halloween store Undertaker gimmick.
Like a Reaper.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'll have to go check that out. Thank God for you two.
They sold these little light up pen gimmicks, and Evil moves merch in Japan. But people here, I don't think, in these states really get it. And they're not going to get it unless they lit the chain
unless they
off.
go review it and kind of open your mind. And that's the thing. I'm an old school guy, just real quick, like you said, with my wrestling taste. But you have to kind of let that go sometimes, I got to admit. And broadening your horizons, I guess, is a fancy way to say it.
But I think they will push Evil. I just think this was more so to move up Sonata, and he's not the stereotypical guy that came up in the New Japan system. He actually, I don't know where he was before this, but I know he was in Impact / TNA for a while as Sonata, but of course he looked a little differently. Then he came over to here, joined Lost in Holidays Day Japan, and then he was in a tag team with Evil and Sonata, which is why they did this whole Evil for Sonata thing right now. But I think this was more so to push Sonata up because quite a few people like him, and it was just a matter of time. Just like with the junior heavyweights moving up to heavyweight, it was just a matter of time before they moved him up from a mid card to a main event scene.
Yeah, he's got it all, Sonata. Hopefully,
Sonata's the total package.
We'll talk a little bit more about Sonata. Save some Sonata thoughts for later because we got some more Sonata talk to do.
Oh, yeah, there's so much to discuss. Yeah.
Hiromu defeated Taiji Ishimori to regain that junior championship that he lost in Jingu Stadium. This was a really fun match, too.
Mm-hmm.
We had 3 really, really good ones. The Cobb match, this one, and then our main event. Hiromu and Ishimori are madmen. Hiromu in general is a madman.
They are.
Yeah, that's why it's called the time bomb, because he's back crazy.
Well, what about that spot on the stage? I mean, where Ishimori catches him, sidesteps him, does a suplex. I mean, that, to your point, he's crazy. He'll do whatever it takes, but sometimes it'll cost him.
And then it worked out with the announcer, Rocky Romero, called that because you didn't see the from the view what happened right away. And it
Kevin Kelly,
kudos to
mention that,
kudos to them for catching it so you could see it, and then the cameraman showed you a different view after they said it. So it's a nice timing of that. But then they also did a great job selling the hand injury during the match that he received from El Fantasmo, and then them saying maybe El Fantasmo just didn't care about the first match because he was doing it for Ishimori to soften him up. And it was this has been the one match that has been a slow build all year because this is the 3rd time that they fought each other. The first time Hiromu lost the belt, he got because he was hurt and he rushed into it. Then the same thing happened at Shingo Stadium in the summer. He was still hurt, came back, and lost. He was hurt here, but not that much, but it was his hand. It was enough to hinder him. But it was a nice way to keep the story built in to where he could actually finally get the victory over Ishimori, because that was the one guy this year that he had trouble with.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, Tyler, but Hiromu broke his neck for a shoot.
I did not know that. That's a serious injury. Did not know that.
In a match here in the States, he broke his neck. And so he's lucky to be wrestling at all. And he came through with one of the best 2020s. And now he's kicking it off with a hell of a match in 2021.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. And just one more thing about that match. Was it not great when Ishimori, he hit the springboard 450 and then or somehow and countered with that armbar submission or something to that effect on Hiromu. I mean, maybe I'm trying to remember all these spots, but man, I was blown away. I'm like, that's how you do it right there. That's a great sequence.
So what is John Suggs in the comments there? He wants to know if we enjoyed watching Flair or The Undertaker more. That's tough. That's real tough.
Because they're both great,
I'm going to say Ric Flair because his promos I could just watch all day without even watching a match.
Yeah, I mean, his promos are worth it. I mean, who doesn't want to hear some Ric Flair promos? And he's just cracking me up. Even if it's bad creative, he makes it work on Raw. I mean, because he is the nature boy. Yeah.
There's no loser here, but if I'm watching a match, I'll go with Undertaker. But if I'm watching the full package of a little bit of a match, a little bit of a promo, a little backstage, just a little bit.
If we get some Paul Bearer,
Paul Bearer.
Can you give us some Paul Bearer?
So New Japan Pro Wrestling, I love it. Oh, it's a close on Ishimori. Did I say that right? Because I'm from Alabama originally. Oh, yes. So Evil's the new Undertaker. Oh, yes. There's Paul Bearer. I hope that was okay for What's the Buzz.
That was solid. I love your Paul Bearer impression.
Love it.
Thank you. I love Paul Bearer. Hey, he was a fan too. And you really go back and research Bill Moody's career, the man behind these characters, and Percy Pringle. I mean, he was great, and he was the Undertaker's actually his first manager when he was in, I think, World Class. I did not know that.
And he like legitimately managed, like got his shit, got him in the hotel rooms.
He did. I mean, he was
went to go get
here
his tattoos.
in Kane as well. I mean, and managed Mankind, Vader. He was in Rick Rude. He was with a lot of big top stars.
Before we digress too much, the main event. What a freaking match. Ibushi versus Jay White. Jay White is such a good heel. Ibushi is such a great face. This was the longest match in Wrestle Kingdom history. Would they go like 48 minutes?
Yeah, and I think 5 seconds, wasn't it, guys? And may have to correct me on that. Was that the seconds with it?
I would have to look it up, but geez Louise, what a match.
Yeah, it was.
Again, the storytelling is just great during this thing. What you guys think?
Go ahead, Daniel.
You can start first.
Oh, well, thank you. Jay White, those suplexes, and the is it the Blade Runner that he does?
Yeah.
I mean, he just everything he does when you think you've got him beat, and he's so intelligent going to that heel point because he buys time. I don't see enough of that where they stall to make somebody make a mistake, and then he can take advantage. I noticed that right off the bat. The opening moments.
I think I was reading the Wrestling Observer and going back to John Suggs here, someone was comparing Jay White to Ric Flair. And before you shoot me down, this was their logic. Was he doesn't have a move set that wows you, but he knows how to get heat, and he does it better than anybody else.
And he's got psychology. Wouldn't you agree? I think that's important. He really does, because he's talking to the crowd. He's even pushing referees. That's something I noticed. These referees get physical. I mean, they have to take a lot more bumps than we see over here in the States. And whether right or wrong, that's just the style. And I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just that's something else I noticed during a lot of these matches.
What do you think of the refereeing in New Japan? Because they kind of have a long whistle. They're going to let them go for a little while before they DQ.
I like it. I mean, let them go. It just depends on the stipulation of the match, but I say let them brawl, man. Especially if it's a big feud, guys, rivalry. What's your opinions on that? Because I'm learning something new about that and not as familiar. So
I think in New Japan, sometimes it can get off the rails, especially during like the dog days of the year. Like during a big show like this, the refs will be a little bit more strict. They'll let a lot of stupid crap go during like a house show or something like that. They might as well be non-existent. And sometimes that makes the referee look stupid. Sometimes it kind of makes the fans feel stupid if you don't respect the referee enough. If I had one criticism of New Japan Pro Wrestling, is sometimes they allow the refs to, or the wrestlers, don't heed the referees as much. Probably the same in AEW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
John Suggs asking more WCW questions. What is it? Best commentator?
He said best commentator, Ross, Bobby the Brain Heenan, or Paul Heyman.
The Brain.
The Brain's good. If we're talking play-by-play in his prime, I mean, JR. But, I mean, Bobby the Brain Heenan, you got to put the Weasel up there, the Brain. I mean, he's a legend. He had that wit. I mean, he was a great heel commentator like Ventura did, especially for that era, Not just WCW, I'm talking WWE too.
So Ibushi becomes a god during this match. He takes all the gold. He leaves White with nothing. In the post-press conference, White says he's quitting. And that leads us into New Year's Dash, which just happened. So it was kind of an uneventful show. Do you guys watch this? The wrestling was really
I watched
good.
it. The wrestling was good. Yeah, you're right about much storylines, even with Jay White, because I think so hurt he couldn't, they couldn't capitalize on that, and maybe not the show. But I tell you what, I can't wait to talk about that first match.
Nagata versus Kid, really? The first match got you going, huh?
I can't help it. I'm impressed with this Gabe Kid, and Nagata. Come on, I mean, I love the back and forth. I love how these guys are learning. They're getting that in-ring experience, like you guys touched on, from these veterans. And Nagata, though the yes lock was too much, but you'd see the one-legged crab by Tyson Kidd, but yet they do uppercuts, trade forearms. I mean, they go for it, man. And I love those trade-off exchanges. I mean, I got to admit, this first match was one of my favorites.
People say, you could skip Young Lion matches, but I don't think that's true because there is just solid wrestling. And if you're
respectfully disagree,
yeah, if you're a fan of like in-ring work, that's where it's at. Are these young lion matches because they're just so technically sound. Because
They're
if
awesome.
they
yeah.
screw up, they're doing 1,000 squats in the back
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
They're trying to get a solid match in, and they're putting a lot into it because they're not getting paid right now. Them getting paid is paying their dues and learn and soak up all this knowledge that they're getting from all these veterans. They're getting the best of both worlds here. Is they're getting work done, and then they're working with one of these legends or veterans in the business, and they're going to be on the card night in and night out. So you can't beat that.
No.
You're a rookie right there.
Could you see WWE doing something like this, Tyler? Like putting all their like veterans who aren't really necessarily goers anymore in the opening matches against some of their younger guys, and the younger guys could jab out?
No, not right now. I mean, I hate to say it, unless NXT Triple H does something and he gets more control, and that's not a knock on Vince. That's just not how their vision right now. I just that's why
I think it wouldn't be a
basically
bad
problem.
idea. Like imagine
It would
like,
not be. Oh, it'd be a great
an
idea.
NXT guy coming up once a week to jab out to Randy Orton or something like that.
No,
I'd take that.
I think that's a good idea. I just don't know that I'll see it or we'll see it happening anytime soon.
My favorite young lion, Yuya Uemura, wrestled with Tiger Mask, but unfortunately they got beat by Dookie and Suzuki.
Suzuki's a beast. Oh,
If you guys go to thebuzz.com and read one of my articles, you'll see a nice picture of me and Suzuki. I love
awesome.
Suzuki.
Yeah.
Suzuki-gun Ichiban for sure. I also like that Uemura is back with Tiger Mask. So they were doing this before the pandemic, where Tiger Mask was kind of goading Uemura to take it to the next level. He's like, "Is that all you got? That was terrible." And Uemura was taking it to Suzuki, which is the last guy you want to take it to.
Yeah, that's what the commentators were saying. They were selling that great, like, "Hey, don't poke the bear." I mean, I love that comment. But I think Kevin Kelly said that.
Yeah, rule number 1 is you don't look Suzuki in the eye.
No, it's a respect thing, right? Oh gosh, hey, I hope he's not watching now.
Yeah. I love Suzuki. He's a cool guy. He did a lot of cool stuff. He tapped out Ken Shamrock. He did kind of a shoot. They have a thing called Pancrase over there, which is like, it's like pro wrestling but legitimate.
And if there's a match,
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, if there's a thing you need to check out, it was in July. Suzuki against Nagata.
Oh yeah, just from the names alone, with Nagata and Suzuki. I mean, I'm hooked right off.
They had a match on the Summer. Was it Summer Struggle? Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
It was.
Wait, no, Summer Struggle was Shingo because in Jingu Stadium he won the belt, right?
Yeah, it was on the road to.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think they called it Summer Struggle or whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. One of the main events of that night was Nagata and Suzuki, and it was a good 30 minutes long, and half of it was them just chopping each other, standing in place, chopping and punching each other with will. And watch that.
Daniel, have
definitely
you seen
will.
Okada versus Suzuki in the rain?
You said in the rain?
Yeah, they had like an outdoor show for Suzuki's anniversary in wrestling, and it was pouring rain. And the main event was Suzuki versus Okada. I recommend checking it out. Speaking of our favorite Suzuki matches, we're running out of time here, so let's move on. The Empire finally gets on the win or the winning column here against Tsuji, Kojima, and Tenzan, and they put Tenzan on the shelf. He gets carted off.
They did. That was big. I didn't expect that. Yeah.
Well,
New Japan loves doing their worked Tenzan injury.
Well, hey, that's good. I mean,
it's a way people get heat in New Japan. Injured Tenzan.
Well, that and then
yeah, he's the target.
He's not a full-time wrestler right now, so it gives him a chance to have him for a couple matches. He can go in and back into his manager role.
Yeah, with Wado.
but it was also a way to make the Empire look stronger, even though all three of them lost at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, they needed to get in the winning column here.
I love how they brawl before the ring announcer can even finish the introductions. Hey, forget this. We're fine, man. We're going for it. And you see it on the outside, the inside. There's so much great action. It's hard to keep up, but it's fun.
You'll notice the Suzuki Goon faction always jumps the bell.
Oh, do they?
I mean,
Okay.
they weren't in this match, but you'll notice that.
Have you noticed that every time that the Empire is in a match together, it's always Cobb getting the pin?
That's true. I didn't think about that. I didn't notice that, but that's a great point. Yeah.
He's always won with like the Tour of the Islands, and then he gets the pin. And the only reason I recognize it is because I always listen to their entrance music at the end, because no matter like who you come out to song wise, it's always the person that wins the match that they play the song to, and they always play Cobb's at the end because he's always the one that gets the pin.
How great is that finisher, Tour of the Islands? I mean, I don't want to even be on an island if Cobb's there. I mean, if I've got to take that, forget it.
Yeah.
I'll see you. I'm gone.
I'll be in traction.
Because even when they lost in the tag league tournament, in the few losses that they had, it was Great O'Con that took the pins there.
Okay, that's an interesting dynamic, but that once again, that's not bad. Hey, it's a good way to build the story, not just in the ring, but backstage, all that.
ELP, Ishimori, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa defeated Kanemaru, El Desperado, Zack Sabre Jr., and Taichi. So God still has those iron fingers, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Just when you think Suzuki Gun couldn't have ever been a face in a match.
And then we kind of got two setups here, right? So like you were saying off air here, Daniel, we got a new tag team of ELP and Ishimori. And it looks like they're going to face off against Kanemaru and El Desperado for these junior titles. And then it looks like we're just going to get a retread of Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, the Gorillas of Destiny, versus the Dangerous Techers, Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi.
Yeah, I guess this is their way of adding another junior tag team to the list because they're gutted the whole division.
I like it. They did good work before the pandemic. Like they have that move where they like whip the guy into the corner and then stand on his nuts. That's kind of funny. I also enjoy they hold a guy and another guy gets up on the top rope and he acts like he's going to do something big and he just dives down and does a back rake.
Yeah.
So
I was going to ask, was he singing soprano? Because that's legit. I mean, come on.
So yeah, El Phantasmo and Ishimori, they have chemistry. So it makes sense.
They do.
This was a fun match.
And that's important, yeah.
My boy Yoshihashi teamed with Ishii, Goto, Yano, and Okada. They defeated Owens, Yujiro Takahashi, Bad Luck Fale, Evil, and Jay White. This, on paper, looked like it was going to be a fireworks show, and it just kind of ended with Jay White taking a pin and being carried out to no fanfare. For someone who's going to quit and leave the company, do you think it's a shoot that he's leaving the company here, or do you think this is a work?
Well, first off, I want to point out that they did all the entrance announcements, and then it took 20 minutes just to get done Toru Yano because he did all the marketing for all the items that he had.
Yeah.
It was like, trophy here, I got the towel here.
DVD towel, selling the rice.
He's got everything, man.
The chair,
the
t-shirt,
t-shirt,
the sachet.
He's
KOPW
champion.
Yeah, and then he sprays up because it's the pandemic. And then at that point, you're like, oh, damn, we could have a match in that time.
That's the only thing. And to the entrances crack me up because it's true, though. When the Bullet Club and they're like, come on. They're taking way too much time. And the commentators sell that great. They're like, well, you're just going to have to wait. That's part of it, But Jay White's like, come on, ref, especially Red Shoes. I love their interaction because you can tell there's some disdain there. At least they sell it that way. I mean, he's just like, come on, what are you doing? He pinned him.
Last match, Bushi, Hiromu, Naito, Shingo, and Sonata defeat Wado, Sho, Rocky Romero, and Tanahashi and Ibushi. So this again was kind of just a meh. I mean, it was a good wrestled match, but what was it? Bushi pinning Watto? Is that
Mhm.
like the big? This is normally a big show. It's like the Raw after WrestleMania.
It
Was
was
this was this the big finish you expected?
I didn't expect much from the New Year's Dash, but it was a way for them to create new storylines. Just like you said, you had that finish, but you were able to see kind of like a show Hiromu,
Mhm.
like little stare down. So you could see when Bushi was talking, he was like, "Oh, looks like everybody in my stable but me and Naito has something to do." You got Show and Takahashi, you got Sonata and Ibushi doing their thing, staring at each other, and then Ibushi saying, "Yep," it was like it's me and you next. And
So,
then,
by the way, Daniel, what an idiot Sonata is. You don't want to be the first guy to face Ibushi. You are going to lose. You're guaranteed to lose. He is
not true,
not. He's
not
not
true,
winning that title, Bakley. He's going to be the
not true.
first loser.
We got an
No,
argument here. I'm gonna have to referee.
2 years ago, Hiroshi Tanahashi won the belt from Kenny Omega, and his first title defense, it got taken away by Jay White.
I did. That's true. But do you think Sonata's that guy? I don't think he's that guy.
I don't think it's him, but you had to move him up, and eventually, I think he will. But like who was it going to be? You have to think that.
That's a good point.
That is a good point. Who was it going to be? It was probably Sonata. It could have been Shingo, even though he has a title already.
I actually like it though. I mean, to me, I don't know enough about it, but it just kind of changes things up. I think you got to build some of these guys, and no, he's not going to win probably the first time, but it'll make for a great match.
Or the third time, I think this is like.
Is it? Okay.
He's got a reputation for losing in big matches, Tyler, and this is going to be another big match loss, I think, for Sonata. Let me see if I got this right. So, what we got out of New Year's Dash is we know it's going to be Ibushi versus Sonata, Hiromu versus Sho, like you said, Shingo versus Tanahashi. We're going to have God versus the Techers. We're going to get Mox versus Kenta. And then we're going to get Desperado and Kanemaru versus ELP and Ishimori. So is that correct?
Yeah.
And then,
did we say Show and Hiro?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm looking forward to
Hiromu.
that one. Yeah.
So the things I want to know is Jay White going to wrestle anywhere else in 2021 besides New Japan?
And if you don't know, that is the question of the night. Where will you see Jay White wrestle at in 2021? Will it be hashtag WWE, hashtag AEW, or hashtag New Japan Pro Wrestling? And I have no idea because
I'll go first. I think I have an idea. He's staying put. This is a work, right? He's not going anywhere. He's their only heel that they trust. So Gato books every heel like chicken shit except for Jay White. He's the only heel that he trusts to win clean ever. How could they get rid of their only good heel?
Because
he's got to be staying, right?
I got a rebuttal to that because they're building up Royal Osprey right now.
That is true. They are
putting a lot behind him. Yeah.
The other thing I will say is this is a lot like some of the other people's exits, like just kind of a nothing loss at New Year's Dash, and you get ushered away by some young lions, and we never see it again. So
I think he fits New Japan. I mean, I don't know.
I do too. And then like when he goes to WWE, he's just a guy. If he goes to AEW, that'd be cool.
That's what I was thinking. That'd be cool because he could keep the gimmick in AEW, the gimmick, the theme music, everything. He could keep it all because they're not going to change him.
Do you think they'd use him as good? I mean,
AEW would. WWE, they could put a rocket on him and he could be like the next Baron Corbin on the show every week. But then he could be the next Baron Corbin and they could just overuse him and put him, in an exposure situation he's not ready for.
And unfortunately, bad gimmick. Yeah.
I mean,
Vince is going to work with his hands on it, which Vince makes a whole lot of money because he is a genius. But at the same time, if you see something working, it's working. But he's going to want to add his WWE touch to it. And it might not be the fact that they're ruining what he is. It could just be because he has so much, they might not have anything to do for him. And he could get lost in the shuffle that way.
That I imagine like the best case scenario, he gets way overused in WWE on like a 3-hour Raw show where he's in like every segment and people eventually get sick of him, which would suck because just like Baron Corbin, he's an incredibly talented heel. So
Yeah,
I
people
don't
forget
want to
about
see him going
Corbin.
to WWE.
Is a good heel. I mean, because you don't like him. That's the whole point. Whether you like his wrestling or not, his personality. Yeah.
So I got two other things. First of all, are they swerving us here? It's not going to be Bullet Club that breaks up, right? It's going to be Los Ingobernables de Japón, LIJ.
No,
You don't think so? They're
Nope.
swerving us. It's
No.
not Bullet Club that's breaking up. It's LIJ.
No, they're not breaking up. I don't think they would.
I haven't seen enough to really, so you guys would definitely have more of the opinion on that.
The other thing on the docket, Kota Ibushi promises he's going to unify these titles, the Intercontinental and the World. That sucks because they got a lot of guys out there that could use something to do, like a Tai Chi, like a Zack Sabre Jr., like a Sonata after he loses to Ibushi. What do you guys think of unification?
I hope not.
Yeah, I like them separate, just to be honest, because it does make it special to me, anyways. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just like.
They have a lot of titles for not a lot of guys, but I do kind of like that it gives everyone a program. Like it gives
they've got something to do. Yeah,
every match has stipulations, which is really nice.
But I have a feeling right now, though, is they're doing all this, but for no reason. If you look at it, they got the World and IC title both together. I want them split up. And then on top of that, the U.S. title is being held in flux right now because it's on Moxley. So in essence, you got two titles that aren't even being used in the U.S. and the IC title.
And the never tag titles, they're barely used. So
there's never tag titles. I didn't know
it's
that.
a trio belt.
And I know how much you hate him, but how is it you're gonna put all this focus in 2020 on Yoshihashi and how he had a great 2020 and then got those titles and they focused on him, and then at Wrestle Kingdom he was in the New Japan Rambo for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's got nothing to do. Like he could be in an IC program, and that could be like his career topper.
Yeah.
So
and people would get behind it because there's people that really like him over there.
You know, we make fun of Yoshihashi, but he had an inspiring year this year. So I'm warming up. Wado's starting to become my whipping boy.
I tell you what's sad is what happened to Juice Robinson, because I'm really a fan of what he does, and I hate he got injured. Yeah, for the Kenta match.
And then what was up with Dave Finley?
I know. I don't know. Yeah,
he had a hell
awesome
of a stretch there on New Japan Strong for sure.
He does. And he's definitely got his father's attributes. I mean, he goes for it stiff, man. And
he's a little more athletic, I think, than his father. His father was scarier, but
Fit was a scary dude.
Yeah, David's a little more athletic.
It's not just me, but I know I'm almost getting ready for some happy beers.
Yeah.
You were talking about the Irish. There we go.
Let's go through a couple things quick. AEW did their tribute show. How cool was Eric Rowan interfering in that match to save the Dark Order?
I thought that was cool, and then I thought the fact that they had Lance Archer dressed up as Brody Lee from WWE.
Yeah, it was a nice touch.
The tributes continued on Dark, where -1 was running wild. I love this kid, man. He's a natural. He was telling like the guys in back to cut the music. He was telling Marco Stunt he's going to grow up to be taller than he is. That kid's going to be something. I can't wait to see him.
But
we can't bury this, Daniel. One thing on Dark, Danny Limelight won. He won in AEW.
Cool.
Yep, I'm so glad that he's been getting a lot of time on there. I don't know if you noticed, but we interviewed Danny Limelight.
I remember that. Yeah.
It was a great guy, and that was right before he started to appear in there. And we feel like we helped him get noticed because
Oh
he was
yeah,
all.
it was
because
clearly our show. Our show gave him the rub, and
Hey,
boom,
why
rocket.
not? Hey, do it. Hey, you never know. I mean, the main line. If you want to know how you can get your opportunities, you've got to get on the main line. Get an interview. Come on.
We're gonna have to get him back on here for a follow-up interview to see how he's liking working with them, and then how he's progressing on New Japan Strong. Because right now he's doing both. So, but before we get ready to go, because we got Game and Drive coming on at 9:00 with the playoff preview. Here's our schedule here at the Buzz. We have a schedule during the week with all different sports and entertainment shows. But here is our weekly lineup.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute is chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you don't know what this court means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by a locksmith. On the block, throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look with the top dish. Tie game, through the pressure as the clock ticks. Crossover, step back, hit a shot, swish. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. This is how champions are made, but it never happens in a day.
That is our schedule for the week. Just like I said, once we get off here in the next minute or so, hop on back on in 5 minutes to watch Drew and Alex on Game and Drive with their special guests, Brian Attard and Tony Quigley of the Sports Box, where they'll be previewing the playoffs for NFL. And we got Gary's team, the Bears.
We got the Bears. Uh-oh.
Any parting words you guys have before we get out of here?
Yeah, I do. I just want to take the time to thank you two for allowing me to join you guys, because I've had so much fun tonight, and I unfortunately couldn't get my internet connection going last week. Was supposed to actually debut then, and I'm learning so much watching New Japan, and I'm having a blast just from tonight. I can't wait to do it again. It's just been a lot of fun. It's one way to sum it up.
Yeah,
How about you?
great show tonight, guys. 9.95 for sure.
Dave Meltzer said that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. So
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, Tyler.
Oh, hey, thank you.
We'll
guys.
see everybody next Wednesday, hopefully. And
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Go Bears! Watch Game Winning Drive.
Yeah. Well,
Tyler,
no.
Gary, and we are